Hello and welcome to Dees Talk. My guest today is Gustavo Favaron. He's the CEO and managing partner of the GRI Institute, which is a global think tank and ecosystem connecting global leaders in real estate and infrastructure. Welcome, Gustavo.
Darius, thank you very much for having me here. Pleasure being here and having the opportunity to brainstorm about business, life, and whatever you find useful.
It's great to have you. So, would you like to explain a little bit about how GRI Institute works? I'm a member of it with my company Cactus Hub in Brazil, which is a real estate company. But would you like to explain to the audience that doesn't know?
Of course. To cut a long story short, the GRI is a global think tank of the real estate leaders and infrastructure industries. We connect leaders like you to together discuss the future of the cities, the opportunities in real estate, the business opportunities as well, to discuss how people live, how people work, how the cities are planned. Basically, we understand that our role as an institute is like an ecosystem that puts a lot of energy into the future of the society.
Yeah, I mean, what I really liked about the organization and being a member is it feels like a nice mix of kind of in-person events mixed with the social media behind it. So you get to see who's going to be at the events, you get to see their profile, see what kind of countries or sectors they're particularly interested in, and I quite like how the GRI team helps you to set up meetings and coffee breaks during the events, so you're not just turning up at the events, and you have a bit of guidance there.
Yeah, I would say one of the main aspects of someone joining the GRI is because they want to do high-level networking, right? The members are guys like you, the CEOs, the guys that run their organizations, the senior directors. So basically they join the GRI to connect with each other in a very sophisticated way, not simply trying to raise funds directly. It's more like building solid relationships throughout the years, right? That's usually what happens. We have been around for 25 years, quite some time. So we are number one now in Latin America, in Europe, in India, in the Gulf countries as well. So basically we have a global footprint that brings together all these players to do business together, to understand the future of the market, to benchmark as well. In the market where we are active, what we notice is that the business environment becomes more friendly because we get people to talk. We use the events as a tool. Sometimes people think that GRI is an event company. It's not an event company, but if relationship is part of one of the main values of being part of the GRI, one of the most effective ways for you to build relationships is via events. So we do, this year we're going to do 393 events worldwide. 393 events. So from an event that's going to have 20 people as a breakfast to an event like we did in Paris a few months ago with 700 people. So we have all the kind of level of events, but the main thing is the audience is always very senior and it's restricted to a lot of principles. So basically the number of advisors is reduced. So one of the rules of our institute is that 80% of the constituency of the club, of the members, must be principals, investors, developers, lenders. And we reserve 20% of the places for the advisors, the lawyers, the brokers, the architects, who are very important. They're very important
for them.
But we believe that that's the right balance. And probably that's the secret for us to be growing.
And then everybody, so there's a lot of competitors, but it's like a kind of mutual respect type environment where you share your stories, I share mine. Where do you see interest rates going?
Absolutely.
What's the pain points? All that stuff. It's quite interesting to...
Yeah, because we don't have too much. Usually when you go to an event, there's presentations, PowerPoints, and like traditional conferences. You've been to many of our events, you know, we have rooms where everybody can talk. There's a moderator that has a job to make sure that anyone who wants to talk can talk, and people share their experience. People don't prepare anything beforehand. They go there just and have like a session, like a therapy session.
Yeah, it's nice how you feel like you're really in the room with all these top people, and I mean, sometimes it's interesting hearing people introduce themselves, and it really is the top of the whole world in terms of institutes, in terms of institutions who are there. You know, guys introducing themselves like, yeah, so our company has 150 billion under management. Next
True.
guy is like, we have 10 billion under management, and then I'm like, okay, well, like I built some projects in Brazil.
It's true. It's true.
But it's crazy.
Yeah, well, kind of
Sometimes
is.
I think, wow, how much money under management is in the room at the same time. I mean, it must run into the trillions at times. you know.
Trillions. We have members, for example, we are very close to Adia, for example, in Abu Dhabi, Adik, Mubadala, for example,
Right.
Blackstone, Starwood, Brookfield,
British Land.
GIC,
Yeah.
British Land. All these big guys are our members, but we also have the mid-sized guys who are really the guys who build the volume of the industry, and these guys, they use the club and the networking environment, the institute, exactly to benchmark with these guys, to exchange ideas with
Sure.
them as well. So it's an environment not just for the big guys, the trillion dollars guys,
Yeah.
the billions, but we have a lot of members that would have 200 million under management, 150 million
Sure.
under management as well.
That are great.
And, yeah.
And how did it start? It evolved into that. From how did it all start? The GRI Institute. Well, it wasn't called the GRI Institute at first, even was it?
Was Global Real was GI was Global Real Estate Institute only. Didn't have
Okay.
infrastructure in the beginning.
I see.
That was back in 1998,
Right.
but was founded by Henri Alster,
Mhm.
who is still our chairman.
still the guy,
He's a
right.
brilliant guy.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
my mentor, I would say.
Right.
I love him. He was a banker from Citibank,
Mhm.
and he was doing events. So we did a lot of events. And when I came to the GI back in 2010,
Mm.
the GI was a company, was an organization with 19 people. I was the employee number 19 here in London, and we would do events every year in different countries. Right.
Mm.
With time, what we realized is that people would come to the events with this specific format, and we develop a kind of club.
Mm.
So we went from 8 events to hundreds of events with time, and we expanded in different markets as well.
Mhm.
And the concept was to build more relationship, to have a deeper connection between the members, and that connection was so deep that the members came to us in the last few years and said, "Look, you guys are much more than a networking club. What we should do is we should have an institute. We should actually promote more knowledge because there's so much, so rich the
yeah,
the
in the
conversation."
room, all the smartest guys at
Exactly.
the biggest
So-
companies
So
all
now
together. Yeah.
we have 250 employees. We have offices in São Paulo, offices in Mumbai, in Delhi, in Bangalore, in India, in Abu Dhabi, in London,
Wow.
in Mexico. We have 250 employees all over the world, and we have a big team taking care of content, marketing as well, research, education. So we transformed that conference company
Yeah.
into a major think tank that is committed in building a better society. You know, because real estate and infrastructure is in everything and
Oh, yeah.
everything we do.
Yeah, absolutely. I always think that, and you were a huge part of that, right? I mean, I think it's worth going into your story yourself. How did you first get in there? I mean, you mentioned you came to London, right? How did you first get into GRI?
Yeah.
And you've taken it from that humble beginnings of 19 employees to now how many?
250.
250 and
Yes.
offices all over the world. You know, how did you first get into there?
It's funny to say that, first of all, I'm not a real estate guy.
Right.
I did law,
Okay.
and then I studied social science
back in
Brazil.
Back in Brazil, right?
And then I did my master's in foreign affairs.
Okay.
So I finished my master's, 2 degrees, okay, and I was gonna become a professor at the university in Brazil.
Right.
But I didn't speak English. And in 2007, I came to London to learn English, right? So, but I didn't have money, right? Like, I come from a very simple family, very poor family. Not poor, but simple family. And I had to work here as a waiter in 2007. That's how I started my life in London, and lived here
Right.
for many years. So I met my wife here. I decided not to come back to Brazil to become professor, and I started working doing conferences for another company on the oil and gas industry. That time, 2009, I started. 2008,
Right.
sorry, 2008, I started working, producing conferences. I did conferences in Malaysia, in Paris, in London, And 2010, the GI came to me, a headhunter, said, look, we want to open the GI in Brazil. We need a Brazilian who knows how to do conferences. Then they just went there and hired me. I was 29 years old, very young, the young Gustavo. I'm 44 now.
Wow.
And that's how it started. Then I went to the GI, I opened the Brazilian market, and in 2 months, Henri came to me and said, look, I wanted to become a managing director here. I wanted to run the organization.
So you must have made a pretty good impact in those couple
good.
of months. Then,
Yes.
yeah.
And I didn't know anything about real estate, really.
Right.
I knew about connecting people, right? I was good at connecting people. At the uni, the best parties were at my house.
All right.
You know, I was the guy connecting everybody, the friends and so on. So I was good at that, but no real estate. So what I did is that I became a managing director for the GI. Henri came to me 6 times before I say yes, because I didn't have...
Because they poached you from some other company.
I was already working at the GI.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
He took me from
That
Scotland.
was, so like you hadn't applied for that.
No.
He just found you.
Just a headhunter
Came to you.
came to me and said, look, you're Brazilian, speak Portuguese, we need just somebody. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
I went there. And after 6 months of the GI, more or less, he came to me and said, look, I would like you to... I like the way you think about the business. Why don't you run the organization for me? He was trying to step back a little bit more.
Sure.
And I wasn't ready, I felt. So I said no 6 times to him. So, look, I'm the youngest one here.
Yeah.
I
Let me just deal
arrived,
with Brazil first. Yeah.
But after 3 months of conversation, I became the managing director of the organization, and we started restructuring the business. I moved from North London to Central London to Houston. We have an office there to attract more talents. And then we started revamping the business in 2011, 12. Then we started doing a lot of that, and that was our life. And we were really doing super well until 2019, 2020 when COVID hit.
Oh yeah!
That
Oh my God, that must have been a nightmare for an events company, right?
Yes.
Or like a conference company at that
Yes,
time.
yes.
So what
Because that
happened then?
time, 2020, we had 250 employees already,
Wow.
and we were doing super well, very well, and growing the club everywhere in the world. And we were set to have a great year in 2020. And I remember having to let go 150 people
Oh wow.
because that time, all the events were in person. We had nothing online,
Right.
100% offline.
Oh my God.
And out of the blue, we couldn't do anything.
So how was that? How did you deal with the firing of 150 people? That must have been harsh.
Was probably the most difficult professional thing I have done in my life, because
Right.
look, I run an organization and I have no problem letting people go,
Sure.
but when I have to let someone go who is committed,
It was good.
competent,
Yeah.
good, that was really really bad for me, I would say. I worked like 18 hours per day for a year also to keep the company alive. We
Right.
moved everything to online. We did over 500 online meetings in Zoom that time. So we connected all the members from all over the world online. When people
Nice.
thought that we would just shut down, we said no, we're not going to shut down. And a lot of people didn't have the budget to pay memberships, because
Sure.
they would pay membership to come to the event.
To the physical
If not doing
events,
event,
right?
doing
Yeah.
online, and there's so
Yeah.
much content free online.
Yeah.
So some of the members kept paying the membership, and that helped.
Right.
But we had to make a big cut in our expenditures. I stayed on salary for 2 years, for example.
Wow.
I cut my salary because
How
we
did
had
you
to pay.
survive?
I sold
You
my
just-
car, I sold my stuff, and I had to survive.
Oh my
Because
God.
people.
Well, they must
Usually-
really value you then as an employee that's going to work for free for 2 years. That's insane.
At that time, I was already a partner.
You were a partner,
so
right. So then
as
you
a
were
partner, yes.
yeah,
As
you
a
had-
partner, I understood that I was the CEO at that time.
Right.
So I had to lead by example. So I said, look, I won't take any money until the company can actually
Pay me back. Wow.
pay me back. That was a way for us to survive. But I think that was a critical moment for us, because we had all the right, Darius, to just say, look guys, I'm sorry, we won't do any event. The authorities
Yeah.
saying that we cannot do events, so
Yeah, yeah.
we're going to sit here and wait.
It's
But the
legal.
truth is, everybody isolated at home.
Yeah.
I felt that we had an obligation to connect people,
Sure.
and we couldn't use the COVID as an excuse. Well, let's do it online. So we did hundreds of meetings. We built global committees for hospitality, multifamily, offices, and we would connect a guy from China, another guy from Germany, with a guy from Mexico, a guy from London, and we would have 30 people talking about how is hospitality industry dealing with this current moment. And if you remember, you had one guy in China dealing with one way, one guy in
there was
in
different
India,
restrictions.
So we would exchange ideas and help them to prepare how they can plan things, how they can see things changing, how are they dealing with everything that was going on. Offices was critical as well at that time. So it was very tough, and I remember really that for us was very challenging, but I think that made people know the GRI more and more, because we went that time from 1,000 members, now have 20,000 members.
Oh wow.
So people realized that actually we played a very important role during that moment. But of course you could have a Zoom call with your industry friends, but if you have, like we had a meeting with Sanzel, for example, and there were 4,000 people listening to the conversation.
Wow.
What was
I didn't even know
thinking?
Zoom could handle that many
participants. We had to stream that. But
that
we
was
had
more
Zoom
streaming,
calls, to stream, but we had Zoom call with 150 guys with camera on that time.
Wow.
Yeah. And people raise
Must
hand,
be
talk, moderating, and
flirting too.
how are you dealing with this? How are you doing that? Financing, banks, and we were connecting these people. So it was
So you
challenging.
really developed your digital infrastructure
Correct.
during COVID. So that was a good reaction from the challenge of in-person events being able to take place. Then you just moved online. Is that when you developed more of the kind of, I call it social media because
Correct.
it's a bit presented like
platform.
that, like a
Yeah.
platform where
We
you can
built a
see
platform.
profiles of everyone. That's really useful.
Yes.
In terms of, there's not many conferences that I've been to where you can see all the participants and you can see their profiles and you can contact them, or like via the GRI get a warm introduction, because it's always weird, like especially these CEOs, you don't have access to them. You can't just go, oh, I want to speak to the CEO of BlackRock or British Land or something, but via being a member of GRI you actually can get a warm introduction, and those guys will actually sit down with you in the coffee break or outside of the event.
Correct.
Because of the warm introduction through GRI, which I think is really invaluable.
Correct. Yeah, people think about a lot of the introductions that we do a lot happen outside of events as well. So if you ask your account manager to look, can you introduce me to someone who actually raising funds or have capital to deploy in resi projects in this blah 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 blah. Nowadays, with our CRM is the largest one for real estate leaders in the world, I can guarantee you. And with artificial intelligence, we can cross information in a way that we introduce you to the right person.
Right. So
we're not
how do you use
brokers.
AI? How do you use AI?
There's one person nowadays fully focused on AI projects.
Just
with
in your team,
yeah,
right.
with the volume of data that we have.
Yeah, you must have so much.
The main challenge for us,
even all the events, are you like
Yes.
kind of recording and transcribing and
more
getting
and more.
more
If
and
you look
more?
at the
Yeah.
volume of reports and information and data that we have, that's why we became the institute, right? With the research area, because it's people look at transactions that took place, but we talk about the guys that tell us what they plan on doing, what they are doing next. So if we can
future looking data.
exactly,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
what we see is that we can forecast a lot.
Right.
And we can help you guys to connect in a more sophisticated way by doing that as well.
So are you producing like research papers?
Yes.
As well.
In
Wow.
a good volume in the institute, and a lot of the papers we do. Some papers we do in partnership with members of the club, law firms. Sometimes, for example, we have a law firm. It's called Trilegal in India, right? So a lot of foreign investors that want to enter that, we collect all the key questions they have, and we have a paper that if a private equity fund wants to enter India now, he can understand the critical points very quickly.
Right.
You know, of course, you can have from anywhere, but we know which kind of questions you guys ask when you enter there.
Sure.
So
yeah.
we kind of organize things to
You have
speed up the process.
frequently asked questions. which you
Correct.
can just,
And at the end of the day, what we see is that the GRI members, they like the fact that we are in different markets, especially here in Europe, for example. If you go to Poland, you have members there. If you go to Hungary, you have members there. If you go to Sweden, you have members there. So whenever they go and they want to test the markets, we make the introductions, they make the business trip much more useful, or they go during the event and they already meet people, stay for an extra couple of days as well.
Sure.
That's the way they use.
And you do these quite you're doing more and more of these kind of more fun events
Correct.
now as well, right? Like I played in a paddle tournament
True,
the other
true.
day. I saw on your website you've got some soccer experience. Is that like in a
Yes.
stadium or something?
In a professional stadium, yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
We have
so the
partnerships.
so the participants get to play and feel what it's
Correct,
like.
correct. Look, what we realize is that meaningful connections and relationships,
Mm.
they sometimes can happen during business, but when you get to play football with somebody or
Yeah.
go play paddle and you don't talk about business, talk about
Yeah.
family life,
Sure.
becomes very strong, the connection.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
what we did is 2 years ago we launched what we call GI experiences.
Yeah.
So it's wine tasting, it's paddle,
Mm.
it's golf. We just had a golf last week. We did golf in Panama,
Ah, right.
for example.
Nice.
So the members from Central America,
That's
they
cool.
went to play golf there in a nice resort. So we have different kind of
You're
activities.
doing
that's
some
not
stuff like
related.
going for runs before the
Yes,
event.
exactly.
There's one in Abu Dhabi.
There's one in Abu
You
Dhabi
do
that I
some
just
kind of
mentioned.
like Wimbledon events. And
Yes,
like,
yes.
is it
So we kind of
you do
bring
F1?
together-
Yeah.
They go there, they will watch a match together, or they're gonna play together in a very informal way.
Yeah, get
And
to
we don't talk
hang
about
out.
business there.
Sure,
It's just more
yeah.
relaxed environment.
Which is important because you want to be doing business with people who you like and get on with, right?
Yes.
As well, that makes such a huge difference, I find. Yeah, wow, that's incredible. So the evolution, I mean, now, you know, from how many members, 19 employees to how many now? 400?
250
Two-
employees.
250 employees
and
and
20,000 members.
20,000
almost
members.
21,000.
That's
Let's
a
say
big
20,000.
evolution. So
Yeah.
you're expanding to all different countries, and you were just saying earlier how much you travel. I mean, it's pretty insane. So you're pretty much on the road. What percentage of your year are you?
I
out
would
and
say
about?
10 days per month I'm on the road.
Right.
Yes,
Mm.
10 days per month, which is okay, is acceptable for the
Yeah.
for a
For the
global
family.
CEO and
Yeah.
so
How does your family handle it? Or it's good. It works out.
It's okay. It's okay. I would say when I am at home, I am at home. So basically, I am
Very present.
I make sure that I have dinner with them every day.
Mhm.
That I wake up every day with them in the morning to school.
Mhm.
Weekends, after a few years now, I can tell you that hardly never work weekends as well.
That's good.
Which for us, I consider GI startup 15 years ago. I would work crazy hours. I wouldn't sleep
All
much.
the weekend. Wow.
Yeah, during COVID it was tough. So nowadays whenever I'm there, and I take holidays. I just came back from Japan. I was telling you.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks I was there with 2 kids, my wife as well.
Oh, so you take your kids sometimes when
Sometimes
you
I
can. That's
do,
good.
yeah,
That's
sometimes I
cool.
do.
Yeah, and so you must have a very good vision of what's going on around the world in all different countries and all different markets. Where do you think is the most interesting market at the moment? Which you're
I
seeing?
think you mentioned one thing that I like to always highlight. I think I have the privilege
Yeah.
to learn from the best in class. So when
Yeah.
I go to these countries, I have the chance to go and meet in person and really listen to what guys are thinking, or what the big guys are thinking, where they see the world going, the investments, the real estate industry going. So I find it easy for me. I mean,
Sure.
a pleasure. You know,
You've got
learning
like
from the best guys in
people
class,
speaking.
just telling me what they
it's
see,
crazy, yeah.
and they tell me, out of the
Off the record.
off the record, so
Right.
I can really get a good instinct of what's going on.
Right.
And when it comes to the markets, I would say 3 years ago, I remember coming to the other GR leaders, say, look, India is going to be the next big thing for us.
Right.
And I remember that time we had 1 employee there. 2 employees there, and we had, I don't know, 30, 40 members only. Was a small starting market, low.
Mm.
Now we have 20 people India based. Is the fastest growing market for us, and for me is one of the most exciting markets that we have.
Right.
They are doing super well, and I think
And
they
they do
are
big volume there as well.
huge volume.
I
It's
mean,
huge.
the size of their projects, when I met some of the members from India, they were speaking about, oh, I'm one of the small guys and I'm building
Yeah,
like 5,000
exactly.
units. I was like, what? How
It's
big are the big guys?
unbelievable.
What are they building?
And people have the impression that, but India, I'm not sure. Look, these guys, they have a lot of potential to grow. The country under Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, is doing super well.
Yeah.
And I know because the first time I went to India was 2010.
Yeah.
2010, I did the India GI, one event there.
Oh,
It was a
right.
small event, 80 people only.
Right.
And I have been going to India every 2 years that time. In 2000, and the last 3 years when we decided to go there, I have been going there on a very a constant base. So basically,
Sure.
the last 2 years I went there 10 times, for example.
Oh, wow.
Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore.
Sure.
So I'm there and I go meet everybody. I interview the top guys there as well. I try to really connect with them. And the opportunity in India is huge. Of course, the challenges are there. Is a country that's being built,
Yeah.
but there's so much opportunity there because there are a lot of capital inside.
Mhm.
The demographics are very interesting, and on top of that, there are a lot of population, moving from the farms, from the
Into the cities.
into the main city. So the
Sure.
demand's quite high.
And they're the most populous nation on earth, aren't they? Like one,
Yes.
I think they overtook China last
They
year.
overtook China.
Yeah,
They overtook
So
China. And if you look at the foreign investors, you look at Blackstone,
Yeah.
Brookfield, GIC,
They're all investing
they are
there.
putting so much money there. They have put so much money there, and they have announced that they're going to put even more there. So, and
I guess it's interesting as a developing nation because they speak English as well. So that
Yes.
must help quite a lot
It helps.
with the international business
It helps.
and investment.
And when I see a private equity fund from Japan, like for example, last time I was there, I met a private equity fund who is a GI, part of the GI, who actually have deployed capital there.
Mm.
And you think about Japanese private equity fund, they
Yeah,
are very,
they're very conservative.
Took them 3 years to decide to deploy the capital. But
Right.
once they decide, they will start deploying capital. So there are a lot of opportunities there. But the challenge for a foreign investor in India, somebody was asking me, what do you think I should go there? Right? A member said, look, you should look into India. But the problem is there are a lot of money inside of India.
Already.
The guys have a lot of money as well.
Right.
The REITs, right? There are 5 or 6 REITs only, but they are already very big. They just started like 3-4 years ago. So if a foreign investor wants to come to India now, he
Yeah.
competes with the local capital as well. So
Right.
that's why you don't see so many newcomers.
Mm.
But I think with time we'll see more and more money coming to
Right.
to India.
And how do you find it just being there? Because I remember I went to India once. I mean, must have been about, I don't know, 15, 17 years ago, maybe more, 20 years ago, but it was just hectic.
Chaotic, yeah.
It's chaotic.
Yes. Look, I tell my team sometimes, they say, oh, it's very difficult to go around here. I say, look, first time I went to India, 2010, I had a BlackBerry, and I remember that I would get a taxi, and the way to go around would take me 2.5 hours to go from one meeting to another in Mumbai or in Delhi, for example, was complicated. Nowadays you go, it's a very different country.
Really?
It has changed a lot.
What, they changed the infrastructure, the roads.
They are building over 30 kilometers of roads on a daily basis. It's incredible, the investment in infrastructure. You go to Mumbai, it looks like they are building bridges, they are building underground, they are building trains, they are building airports, they are expanding everything.
Wow.
So it's not easy, but it's not what it used to be 15, 20 years ago. It's changing
It's
a lot.
evolved a lot. Right. That's
So
interesting.
I'm very optimistic about India. I believe that the world will look more and more how to do business with India,
Mhm.
and I think that any big player will end up there. No,
Yeah.
you cannot ignore.
Sure, interesting. And how about in the Middle East? You've expanded
Correct,
across
yes.
there as well, and
Yes.
there's lots of interesting developments. Obviously, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Saudi.
Saudi,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
I think
Obvious.
these 3 places you cannot miss.
Yeah.
When I speak to GRI members nowadays, they say that when they do fundraising for any fund,
Yeah.
going to Abu Dhabi and Dubai and Saudi is as important as going to New York.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's even more important going to Abu Dhabi than London.
Really?
So-
oh, London's coming down
Yeah,
now.
London's
It's going
coming
down
down.
in the rankings.
Correct. So when we hear that from our members,
Yeah.
what we realized that we had to set up a shop there. So we have opened an office there.
In Abu Dhabi or
in,
Dubai?
In Abu Dhabi.
In Abu Dhabi,
We
right?
decided Abu Dhabi where we feel that the heavy money is there. A lot of
Yeah.
family offices that are members already. We are counting on the support from Mubadala, from Adia, from Adnoc. They're all
Right.
members of the GRI. So we
Right.
set up our shop there. There is a senior guy there living there now. So it's not like, it's a proper strategy.
Proper strategy,
Because
right.
I believe that with time, the relevance of this part of the world will just increase.
Yeah.
You probably.
I agree too. I mean, I'm going there this weekend actually to check out for the potential of moving there myself because I think there's so much going on there, so much opportunity, and it kind of really feels that when you're there and you speak to people that things are really moving forward, they're really looking to the future. How can we bring the state of the art? What is the best technology we can
culture as
implement?
well? Culture. A lot of museums, the Louvre.
Yeah.
There are a lot of art, expos, shows, events. There's a preconception about Abu Dhabi and Dubai.
Exactly.
And everybody, when I mention Dubai and Abu Dhabi, especially those that haven't been there for the last 5 years, they say, I'm not sure, it's a bit fake.
Yeah.
It's changed.
It's
and
changed,
COVID was very important for these guys. I spoke to some guys inside of the government, and what they realized after COVID, because 80%, 90% of the population are foreigners, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they realized actually they need to create a desire for people to go to and see Dubai and Abu Dhabi, not as a place for you to go, make a lot of money and leave, for you to settle there,
to stay,
for you to stay. So they have made a lot of changes in the last 5 years that have been driving this energy of the new people coming. So when you go there, you don't feel like I'm here and that's it, I'm not going to stay here. They want you to feel that this should be a place for you to raise your kids. This should be the place where you should open your company here. So for example, personally, I live in Brazil currently, right? After COVID, I decided to move there, so I travel a lot from there. Okay, but it's something that I speak to my wife on a monthly basis, that I believe that our future should be probably in Abu Dhabi. Right? I feel, I know, and I have been there a few times already this year. I'm going there next month, and I'm going in December again. So I have 2 more trips already planned for that.
To start to feel it more.
On top of that, there are a lot of business going on there, a lot of capital there, a lot of space for growth there. And you look at safety, you look at education, health, you look at all these aspects, the quality of life you can get there is very interesting. And these guys are not doing something for the short term. They're not like, I
mean, that's what's kind of interesting. You see these kind of nations run by kings or royalty, and they say, oh, it's not like a democracy or whatever. But there is some advantage of not having the political party changing every 4 years, because when you have that set up, you can plan long term, because you're not just thinking of the next election cycle. So actually, look what they've managed to pull off in Dubai from 20 years ago to what it is now. It's insane. That would never have happened if you had a normal democracy and investment election cycles every 4 years, because they're just thinking of the next one. So they've actually managed to really do these long-term plans, and they're thinking in multiple decades.
In the transition, they have done that. I studied that. If you look the way they look at the person who runs the country, they respect. And it was just happened. So he's a young person who's gonna run that for a few years. So I like to think that the country, the UAE, is not just gonna be something for the next 4 or 5 years. When you go to other markets, there's one thing I find very interesting, is that the only 2 markets where people don't complain about their politics are India and UAE. We have members from all over the world, and I spend my day talking to members, right? As I mentioned, I go to India, nobody complains about Narendra Modi. He has been there in power for quite some time, and I have no doubt that he's not perfect, but a lot of the improvement in India is to do with the government, the way they are running the country. You go to UAE, same thing.
Nobody complains.
Now let's talk about London. Let's talk about Brazil. Let's talk about Mexico. Let's talk about the US. There's no simple answers for that. So it's complicated.
There's a lot of polarization.
I'm not advocating against democracy here. Don't get me wrong. But there are some challenges in democracy that impact the way people live.
Absolutely. And how about China? Do you hear people complaining, or nobody even dares?
No, next year my family holiday will be in China. I was speaking to my kids. We just came back from Japan. I said, okay, next China. I want you to.
Have you guys got offices there?
No. But we don't have offices there. I've been to China in 2010, 2011. We were analyzing opening an office there, so on. I would say that China is a bit more complicated. I don't see a lot of members happy to invest in real estate in China. So we don't have a demand from our members to open there. But if you look
Why
at
is
China,
that? Is that because so much of it is state-led?
I think so.
development, so there's not much
You
room
don't
for
thi-
private capital, is it?
I don't know many members that in the past have deployed capital there and exit with a good result.
Oh, they haven't, right?
No,
So
I
far.
haven't
Okay.
seen many,
I
and I
see.
don't see a lot of members saying, "Hey, Gustavo," like they would come to you and say, "Look, we're thinking about Abu Dhabi. Can you guys help us there? Can
Yeah.
you know build connections there?" Because what the members do is they go to Abu Dhabi and they use us as a way to speed up the process of get to know everybody, right?
Yeah.
But in China, there's no demand for that.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm going through the
But-
process now because I've spoken to some people trying to help me get into Abu Dhabi or to Dubai or the UAE as looking at the golden visa options, things like that. And they have government employees from Abu Dhabi for free helping you, setting up meetings, helping you with every step of the way,
Yes.
saying we can even introduce you to the people in your sector, we can help you, hook you up, introduce you to banks, can help you do this, get you financing. They're doing everything to just make it as easy as possible to just come into the country, set up a company in a free trade zone.
Mm-hmm.
You can even bring your wife, your family, even your domestic employee if you have one. They've just made it so easy for you there.
And
It's,
on another hand, when you look at the UK,
oh God, yeah, exactly.
so that explains a lot.
Yeah, I
Unfortunately.
mean, it's really shocking what's happening now in the UK. We were speaking earlier about the complete exodus of millionaires leaving here. I think it's like tens of thousands, over the course of a few years.
Mhm.
I think it's the number one in terms of the index of number of leavers
Yeah,
of millionaires.
The net
Net
result,
like
yeah.
millionaires leaving. There always wasn't a bit of a churn, like a bit of some leaving, some coming, but now there's no one coming.
Yes.
And I see that across the board in a lot of my contacts when I speak to them. People at the sort of wealth managers, they're saying a lot of their clients are leaving. Even my daughter's school, which is a private school, 10% of them have left. Of
A
the
lot of
girls
GR
have
members
left.
as well. GR
Yeah,
members,
really, a lot of
they
GR
still
members.
have investments here, but they're going to set up their shop
Yeah,
in Italy,
yeah.
in Abu Dhabi, in other countries.
Yeah, I think they grossly miscalculated the effects of the changes in the tax regime and how they anticipated this would bring in more billions of revenue, but actually they underestimated how mobile people are, especially after COVID. Everyone realized, I can work from anywhere, the world's a global place, everything's connected, I can get up and move if I want. There's other countries welcoming me with literally red carpet, come here, It's hard to justify staying, and it's tough now. I feel sorry for the government because they have a big hole in the UK budget, and how can they fill it? Either cut
And-
costs.
And even
or
if they go
increase
back
revenue.
now, even if they go back, say, look,
Oh
sorry,
no!
my bad.
Whoops!
Are you gonna come back after leaving?
No.
Are you gonna trust this? No.
No.
That's
That
what I hear.
confidence, yeah.
That's what I hear from our members. So look,
That's
even
it.
if they do that, they have damage because people forgot what London was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
I speak to some members that have been living here for a long time.
Yeah.
London wasn't this great cosmopolitan city 40, 50 years ago. London was not that great.
Right.
It was complicated. There was some issues here, right? They built this country to become a global hub.
Yeah.
They had these incentives to bring
They
people.
were basically
Yes.
like a tax haven for these wealthy foreigners
Yes.
with the non-dom rules and all
Yes.
that. Yeah.
So a lot of things were built in the last 40 years to
Yeah.
have this great London that we all know.
Yeah.
And now they decide to actually forget.
Yeah.
And they're going to lose exactly what.
And I don't think they realize all the knock-on effects. Like when somebody wealthy leaves, they don't just take their money. They stop investing. They stop launching businesses. They
Going
stop
to
hiring
restaurants,
people. Restaurants,
hiring
membership.
people,
I've heard people
ordering for iFood, whatever.
I've
it
heard
is.
people are cancelling their memberships at some of these high-end member clubs because they're going and there's like no one there
Yeah.
because everyone's leaving. And there's
The house market. If you
Yeah.
look at real estate, real estate, the prices of the most expensive houses
Yeah.
in London are declining.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are
Yeah,
declining.
the number of transactions has really dropped. I've been speaking to some agents in the market in London at the prime end of the market, and they're saying there's massive discounts being offered. From like 12 to 24 months ago. we're looking at properties that were 15, 20 million being sold at like 11, 12 now type thing, you know, just to get it off the, just to be able to sell, because who's coming and investing? From what I've heard, the only people still coming are some Chinese and some Americans, because for them they're already quite entangled in quite, you know, tax regime there. Doesn't make much difference to them, and you know, Chinese for other reasons, I guess. They want to get their wealth out of China somewhere maybe, but yeah, it's really interesting. I never thought I'd see that happening in London.
And the real impact will not take place in the next 3-4 years. It will take 10 years, 15 years probably for us to realize, and then people will even probably forget why it's happening now.
Yeah,
that's the sad part.
No, it's true, and it's, I think it's almost a part of, you know, the sort of rise and fall of big cities in history. All these other big cities, like Rome was big, and then it was, and Venice was the biggest, richest. Then it came that, you know, that could be happening now with London. You know, when my dad was a young lad or whatever, everybody was like, London was the big futuristic place to go to network and
exciting
opportunity, excitement. Now that's Abu Dhabi. You know, that's where the people are looking forward to opportunity, future, what can happen, let's make the impossible happen kind of thing. Whereas here, I don't really feel like are there really even interesting project? I mean, speaking of real estate, when I just saw like an Instagram post of just yesterday of all the upcoming projects that are coming in Abu Dhabi and Dubai in the next 10-20 years. It's insane what they're building. And you think, in London, what are they building? What do they have here? They had this, I feel sad because they had this opportunity next to Westfield. They decided to let skyscrapers be built, because in London you can't generally build above 3 stories because of the planning restrictions, which is good, which also keeps its kind of character of London. But they did liberate a part to be able to go skyscraper. And what kind of building? Did they build some super futuristic, interesting buildings? No, I think all the buildings there are pretty ugly and just pretty standard. Like, why didn't they? This is London, for Christ's sake, you know? Why didn't we do something interesting? And it's just...
And if you put this together with the other issues, the clash of the civilizations, let's put it this way, right? The culture change, the immigration issues, the issues with the NHS. Look, it's challenging, I would say. I still have my property here in London, but I would say that in the past, when I moved to Brazil, my wife and I, we knew we would come back to London. It was something sure. No, we're just going to live there a few years. I have my father there. My mom passed away, but my father is there. My brother is there. I want my kids to see.
So your family's still here?
Yeah. No, he is in Brazil.
Oh, they're still in Brazil,
so
right. Okay.
We moved there because I want my kids to see my family.
Sure,
to get to know them.
Family,
and my wife is Ukrainian.
Culture. Okay.
She couldn't really have her family here, so we would just be the two of us here.
Right.
But we knew we would come back to London.
Yeah.
Now, I tell you, I won't come back to London.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I prefer to go to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
If I leave Brazil,
exactly.
I go to Abu Dhabi.
That's really interesting. You know, because I think that's what's happened. You know,
I love London. Don't get me wrong. I was here yesterday. I went for a jog. I had my beer here in a nice pub. I love it. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But do I see myself coming back, seeing the next 10 years where I want my
children
to grow, tax issues, violence, whatever. Not that Brazil is anything to do with violence, but in the future.
No, but it is, and it is becoming more unsafe in a lot of ways, you know. I mean, just in my own family, like in the last year, 3 of us have had our phones stolen.
Me too.
My sister...
Here in London.
Really?
Yeah.
What, like from your hand?
Yeah.
Really?
I was speaking to my wife. My wife took it from me.
Oh, no, wait, what, like on a bike or something?
Yeah, on a bike.
Yeah, same thing happened to my sister and my brother outside a club. Some guy, when he was drunk at 4 a.m., just came and snatched his phone, ran off with it. Even managed to steal some crypto from his phone somehow.
Wow.
I think they hacked into it. I think they have like street gangs, and then they have like some kind of nerdy operation that they just give all the phones, and they get in by like 5 a.m. They'd already hacked into all his stuff. And I thought, wow, you know, pretty crazy stuff. Yeah, and Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of crime. At least they're not kind of doing what they do in Brazil with guns and
Yeah, it's worse.
then
It's
put a
worse,
gun to
it's
your
worse.
head and make you do
No,
transfers.
Brazil is a different game. Brazil is a different game.
Yeah, Brazil's a different level.
If I look at the statistics, I live in Brazil.
Yeah.
I drive a bulletproof car.
Wow.
My family lives in a bubble. Is a gated community.
Yeah.
So when I look at the statistics for violence in the areas where I go in Brazil,
Yeah.
is better than London.
Really?
Crimes and everything else. It is.
Yeah.
Because you end up having to live in a bubble if you want to live in Brazil.
Yeah, that's how I live.
And if you're
as
not
well,
Brazilian,
to some
I would
extent.
not live there.
Yeah.
Because, if you're Brazilian, you kind of know things in a way.
Yeah.
I see my wife is a foreigner, right? And she's blonde and she's Ukrainian, right?
So she sticks out like a gringo.
yeah, so like she's a target.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So sometimes I tell her, look, you don't understand what's Brazil. You need to stay inside of the bubble, accept that, otherwise you need to leave.
Well, I find like even when I was living in Brazil, one thing that I really missed from London that I took for granted was just being able to walk on the streets, because I find even in Natal, where I was living in Brazil, it just wasn't safe to walk around, and it's just not the culture. People just don't walk like they do in
Yeah, I
London.
miss that so much.
Yeah, that was actually something that I didn't expect
Yeah.
to kind of miss about London. And there it's just like you said, you go from the bubble of the gated community or your building that has its own kind of
Yeah, bulletproof car, you move from this area to
with like a kind of guy at the gate, with a car system to let one car in at a time, and then you go to the office, and the office has that same bubble system, or even the restaurants, you go there and they have the security outside that kind of lets you in or does the valet for you or whatever. So you are always in this kind of bubble.
You get used, but
Yeah.
if you have lived abroad, like I lived for 10 years in London.
Yeah.
For me, that's challenging. So,
Yeah.
so for example, when
And the
I had
bulletproof car too, that must like weigh more, right? Like
nowadays, the technology, Brazil is the largest market in the world for bulletproof cars.
Oh,
so
really?
they have really good technology. So it's
have you
okay.
ever tested it? Like someone
thank
came
God
to the
for
car,
that.
like go for it, shoot.
Thank God for that. No, not, and I hope no.
Because that's what
don't
they
have
do.
to.
They sometimes rob people at traffic lights, don't
Yeah,
they?
very
And that's why
I
people
have a bulletproof car.
after midnight, people just go through the red lights and stuff. Yeah,
That's sad, but that's a reality.
Yeah,
that's
that
a
is
reality.
Yeah.
And I agree. I love walking around, just being able to, like yesterday was Sunday.
Yeah.
I remember I worked until 3 p.m. here. I'm here alone without my family, so 3 p.m. I walked about 10k.
Oh wow.
Just stopping, having a beer in a pub, and then I went to see something else, and I just until 8 p.m. I was just walking
Just
and
being
relaxing.
around, yeah.
I don't do that in Brazil.
Nah, never.
So here I can do it still.
It's true. Yeah, there are still some good things. I mean, I guess that if the government suddenly realizes what's happened, which it should be if it has any intelligence, and it would come up with some new drastic immigration program or some new extreme visa program or something that would encourage capital to come back and people to come and kind
I'd
of
love
set up
it.
businesses. Because part of the problem with the migrants thing that's going on now, it isn't the wealthy migrants that are coming. Those are the ones being scared away. The ones being attracted are the ones that are
the
like
opposite.
Is the opposite are the ones that are ending up being a cost to the system. They turn out, they have like, once they're in, then they end up having loads of kids or whatever, and they just end up kind of realizing that they get loads of benefits here. And that is what is, if you look at the sort of country's budget, that's where there's like hundreds of billions of pounds a year going towards benefits and things like that. And the migrants that are trying to come, or these illegal migrants, I agree, are not the type that you want to be attracting. You want to be making it easier for the people with money to come, to be setting up businesses, investing in the country, setting up kind of new businesses. Like I just saw a little clip online of, I think, South Africa's richest woman that was set up in London. She had like a fund management company. She was bringing lots of funds into the UK, really wanted to invest more, but because they changed the non-dom rules, she's had to go back now. So she's left, and not only she's left with her wealth, all the money and all the funding and all the investment she was going to bring is also not coming. So
Yes.
so there's these knock-on effects that I don't
There's
think
no
that-
way that is not going to impact the country.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love London.
Yeah.
My son was born here.
Yeah.
And, you know, my wife is Ukrainian, but she's British. My son is British. My daughter is British. I think it's a fantastic country.
Yeah.
London is the only place in the world where I go, and outside of my country, Brazil, and I don't feel like a foreigner.
Yeah.
So it's a fantastic.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah, that's true.
it's great. London is great, but you said two words that don't blend: government and intelligence.
Right.
With all due respect, I really would like to expect that,
Mm.
but there.
Yeah, and that's
It's
something
very
that
rare.
I think is rare across the world. I mean, even I think with a lot of these wars that are going on, why don't we have the wise people of one nation speak to the wise people of the other nation and come up with a creative solution that humans are capable of? Like, hey guys, is war the only thing? Like killing each other?
Really, is that the best way?
Is that the best way to
I have
resolve
that
this?
at home. I
Yeah.
have that at home. My wife is Ukrainian. I got married in Lugansk, which is where the first part of the war started in 2014.
Oh, really?
So my mother-in-law was living in Irpin, which is near Kiev. My brother-in-law was living there. They were in Brazil on holiday when the war started.
Right.
As a matter of fact, they had the return flights 5 days before the war started. And I was reading everything and said to the guys, look, can I change your flights?
Yeah.
Because they're talking about a war. They were laughing at me. No,
Really?
they're never going to attack.
Yeah, Russia will never attack us.
Never going to attack us.
We're all Russian anyway. Deep
I
down.
went against their will and I changed their flights. I swear. That's
Really?
exactly
Like
what
behind
happened.
their backs.
I said, look, they had to. I changed the flight. Stay another week here.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law was 29 or 30 years old that time. He was upset because he would miss work. 5 days after the war started, if he was there, he would be fighting on the war.
Oh
right?
my God, he would have
Because-
been
yeah,
in
exactly.
the military. Right?
So basically, they're still living in Brazil since
Right.
the war started.
So since
they
then
went
they've
on
stayed
holiday,
there.
they are living there. Now the funny thing is, her father is divorced with was living in Russia. He just passed away a few months ago. So basically, families are from Russia and from Ukraine.
Right.
If you talk to the population, they don't want this war.
No.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
In my own family, how they
There's
shoot each
Russians
other.
and Ukrainians.
And Ukrainians,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
one thing.
And they are like ethnically,
That's okay.
they're all the same. They speak almost the same language, is it? Or they have their own language?
They have the Ukrainian, but
But they're ethnically.
exactly
If they did the DNA test, they'd all
they
be.
don't care about that, They don't
Yeah.
care. But it's true that that has been something being built. I used to go every year to Ukraine to visit my mother-in-law with my kids and so
Sure.
on, and I could see every year there were, the tension,
Was
built.
rising?
Yeah,
Really?
I could see
In between
example,
who and who? Between
the Russia,
And
the Russian government and the Ukrainian government.
Okay,
to
just
a
so
point
it was
that-
just government to government, not
Yes.
people to people. No.
Exactly. 8 months before the war, I was in Kiev. 8
Yeah.
months before, and I remember speaking to my wife and say, "Why?" And she told me, "Look, now when you go to any place that is kind of run by the government or the municipality, you cannot speak Russian anymore. You speak Ukrainian."
Right.
And my wife speaks only Russian. She's Ukrainian, but she only speaks Russian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was.
So like she was brought up there.
She was born in Siberia.
I see.
Then she moved to Ukraine.
Yeah.
So her family would speak only
So they're
Russian.
all mixed everywhere.
Mix,
Yeah.
as I got to said, if they get to talk to each other, why
Yeah.
would you have this war?
Yeah, there must be some other interest or some other reason behind it.
Of course.
Yeah. It's a military
Politics.
industrial complex and all that. Yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't try not to comment too much on the politics of things because it gets very tribal.
Mhm.
Commenting on say the
Me too.
Israeli versus the Palestinian
No, I
thing,
find-
it can get toxic very quickly,
Very
and
quickly.
I just think, look, let's try. What can we do to bring each other together? That's what I'm thinking of. What's our
Mhm.
common ground? How can we, we are creative beings. We are humans. We can do things. There's so much in common. Even the Arabs and the Jews and the people that they have so much history and so much commonality. Why can't we connect in that way? That's what I'd like.
There's
to
one
focus on.
thing that is together in this whole conversation. That's God, or whatever it is, Allah, God, whatever
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
some higher power.
That is higher power.
Yeah,
That is source of love
yeah,
and source of creating human beings.
yeah, yeah.
And I doesn't matter which which is your belief.
Sure.
But I believe that killing each other is,
Yeah.
the last thing that this superpower would like us
Would
to
have
do.
wanted, yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that, and yeah. I mean, I extend it to animals as a vegan as well. But
Yes, yes,
yeah. So
absolutely.
yeah, I totally believe that, and it's kind of crazy, and I hope it all gets sorted. And
Me
it
too.
looks like there's some steps happening in the last couple of days. I believe there's
Yes.
some hostages released and stuff. So hopefully, first step towards some lasting peace in the Middle East. Definitely.
Yes.
But yeah, at least like Brazil doesn't have war. Well, not with another country, just internal.
Yes, true.
Just with
The war is internal war. It's like a civil war.
yeah, it's civil war. There's like the kind of gangs versus the population, and there's the kind of left and right having their kind of fight now.
Yeah, that's all over, right? You
Yeah.
have here in the UK, you have in the US.
Yeah.
Brazil is the same, left and
polarization.
right. This
Yeah.
whole debate. It's everywhere we go.
Yeah.
That's absolutely.
And you see this rise of far right coming in, like kind of nationalism across Europe, and yeah, people trying to
You go to France, it's the same. You go to Germany, it's the same.
yeah.
I feel that there is something major going on in the world. That's true. Like the civilization, the way people think life, the way people basically there are a lot of potential conflict taking establishing or
Mhm.
the way people. I think the social media and the digital world
Yeah.
have made it worse
Yeah.
because everybody knows everything. Everybody has
Yeah.
a strong opinion, and people want you come up with a yes or no very quickly.
Yeah.
They don't want to
Which
really
side are you
listen to
on?
each other.
Yeah, yeah.
People don't
It's
listen to each other,
crazy,
and you
yeah.
need to be either right or left.
Yeah, and you need
You
to be
cannot
for or
build-
against. Yeah.
yeah.
There's no nuance and things. Yeah, definitely. 100% see that.
Because it's
Um,
easier, right, Darius? If you think
yeah.
like that, if you can just say, you know what, everything that side says, I'm gonna say amen. You
Yeah.
don't need to think.
Yeah.
You don't need to understand that we're not stones, right? We are human beings. We are here. At least I believe that we live to learn, to grow, to evolve,
Mhm.
to become better people.
Mhm.
And if you're not ready to ask yourself questions and to study and to read, to listen,
Yeah.
how can you really grow?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And it is, yeah, kind of reduced by this tribalism. It's like, what do they call it? Confirmation bias.
Mhm.
Once you're like on a team, it's almost like, football supporting a team.
yeah,
Then
like a
you're
bubble,
just,
right?
Yeah, you're
And-
for that and anything else. And then
and
you
if you
get
think
these echo
about-
chambers online. And
Anything
Yeah.
about Instagram or the TikTok or whatever it is, they have the algorithms, and if
Mhm.
they understand that you like the content that is on the left or on
Yeah.
the right, he'll keep sending you that thing because they want you to
that's
keep
what you
engaged.
look at more.
So
yeah.
they don't want you to listen to someone else. So that only made it worse. That's
Yeah.
why I think we are going deeper into this trouble.
Yeah, well. So where do you see, just to change subject a bit, where do you see the future of GRI? Where do you see the company going in terms of next steps?
I think we are going to become more and more active in the education part of the
Mhm.
real estate and infrastructure industry,
Right.
the research as well. I think artificial intelligence.
Well, like online courses, or just like you almost sort of share free information at the
Yes,
moment, right?
correct,
Yeah.
correct. I think there is a responsibility for guys like you and
Mhm.
all the leaders to take care of the next generation. I think the education system that we have currently
Yeah.
are not really in line with the needs for the real estate leaders of the future.
Mhm.
I think there's some exceptions,
Yeah.
but most of the real estate MBAs or whatever it is, not always align with the experience of the day-to-day.
Of day-to-day
So-
market. What the
Correct.
education is very theoretical, and then when you're in the real world, it doesn't.
It's different, right?
It's totally different.
You study, but you don't really have the experience, and the professors not always have are those guys doing the deals and
Yeah.
on the ground.
Yeah.
So
See how it works.
we see that our members, and that was something that came from our members, have been asking us or saying to us that look, we have the responsibility for the future leadership as well,
Mm.
the future leaders.
Yeah.
So what we hear more and more, that they will be happy to educate, to share, to mentor, to do mentoring, and more of this kind of program. So I think we're gonna see more and more of that happening. The idea is that in a few months we're gonna start doing that in India. We're gonna be one of the first markets, in Brazil, and we're gonna test the waters there and improve that. And I think the future is also related to artificial intelligence.
Yeah, how do you see that coming into
I think
real
that
estate?
will just make the GR much more useful for all the members.
Okay.
Where we are building what we call data room first, because it's not just take the artificial intelligence and use it as a chat GPT. It's not that. We need to really have a data room where each information is in a different box, and we need to teach the artificial intelligence where to look for the information, how we keep updated this information. You as a member will give the information, but we can also look on the internet for the information. We can look at the research, we can look at the participation. So there are different ways for us to do that, and by doing that we can customize the journey of the member in a very sophisticated way, to a point that I won't send an email invite you to any event. I will send emails for you to go to the event that that I know that's useful for you. That I know that the right people that you want to meet will be there. So it will be less a volume with more quality.
Because it's kind of like a matchmaking service in a way, right? You're really matching people up with their interests or their desires with the other people that might be able to facilitate that.
Exactly, and we can understand what's the profile of that person, and the more information we have, the better we can connect you.
Sure, interesting. And how about in terms of the actual projects themselves, like maybe outside of GRI, but just from speaking to all these top people at all the top companies, are you seeing how are you seeing the integration of technology into new projects? I mean, the most futuristic that springs to mind is obviously what's going on in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, but I also saw in Japan, they've built this city that's like completely,
oh yes,
what's it
I
called?
think it was with one of the car makers,
one
right?
of the cars,
Toyota,
yeah, Toyota or something, yeah, and
city.
they have this, and they built a city that's like got like, and it's going to have real kind of residents living in there. It's almost like an experiment or something.
Yes, they just launched that, I think.
Yeah.
Look, I think a lot of artificial intelligence is coming to real estate. Real estate is not it's a very traditional industry. I think people don't innovate that much, but
it hasn't been sort of disrupted that much yet.
Yeah.
I feel.
I think currently the way people manage the buildings, the way people do some of the those part of the business is already quite well served with AI, and will increase. But for example, when I spoke to many of our members that run large funds, they already have artificial intelligence sitting at the decision making table. So let's say you have a investment committee, right? Maybe I can say that because he said in public, like Mubadala, they have AI that sits at the investment committee. He just mentioned to me in front of 700 people in Paris, so I suppose I can say that. And in every single decision, he runs all the analysis as well, and he has a vote on that.
Right. All right. An actual valuable vote, rather than just like, oh, what do you think, and then hear it. Wow. Exactly. Wow. Yeah, I heard they just didn't. And
there are many other companies doing the same.
Yeah.
It's not just like it's very normal to have that. Some of them are already counting the vote of the AI in the if they deploy the capital or not, if they invest, if they should do or not. But you point the risks, all the structuring of the structure of the deals, they are using AI for that. Right. And I think that will increase because a lot of them are using, and some of them are comparing the decision making
with humans.
With the humans, and quite often they were very, very right.
Right. Yeah. No, it makes sense to have them on the team. I mean, most of the work, like, I still do a lot of work the traditional way, but I will always kind of run it by ChatGPT or that just to see if there's any improvements, and it always comes up with interesting ideas or summaries and stuff.
Yeah, there's a big risk, and I tell my teams, look, do not use chat to do your work. Yeah. But for example, when you want to research and think about something, using as a way to have a conversation and to do deep research, and it speed up the whole process. Now some people are using that to write emails and so on. That I find is incredible, but I never send an email that is written by AI,
Right.
as I think that they respond. The response rate is not as great. I think that
Right. People
the way
can
people
feel
they don't feel, it's completely different. I
Yeah.
can see
if something is written by
yeah.
AI. Yeah.
So
They always have emojis.
yeah,
They always have emojis as a bullet point.
correct.
Also,
correct.
you can see, and it always like highlights in bold certain things, which is a bit, people do that sometimes, but AI has a certain way of doing it that is recognizable. I find.
But the style as well. I think, look, there is something that we have as human beings. It's the intuition.
Yeah.
There's something that I can't explain, but you can see that if you.
It doesn't quite have
Yeah.
it yet. Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, how about things like 3D printing? Because I always think, when there's a big technological advance, generally it can lead to the costs of things coming down. But in real estate, there is still a lot of traditional building using traditional methods. There hasn't been that much disruption. And I was quite, interested in 3D printing, but it doesn't seem to have taken off as fast as it could have because but that seemed to be one area, and I think Abu Dhabi and Dubai, even the government, I think, has some aim that a certain percentage of their houses will be built by 3D printing by a certain year. But that seemed to be like an interesting way to get rid of a lot of errors and maybe speed up the process. And because there's so many contingencies in kind of real estate projects. You plan one thing, but anyone that's ever done a real estate project knows whatever plan you had at the beginning and what actually happens towards the end, totally different. So maybe having some more machinery like 3D printing, AI, helping that in that process could help. Have you spoken to many CEOs that are really focused on that, or that hasn't come to the forefront so much?
I wouldn't. I believe that that the way I would put is that money talks. I think with time it's gonna be inevitable.
Yeah.
We have a shortage of labor skills in many markets, like in Europe, for example. If you look at the US as well, we will have more and more scarcity of skills, labor to do things. We will force the industry to look into steel frame, 3D, and robotics, and so on. So there are some companies that are members that are using robotics to build already.
Really?
3D printing. I have companies in Brazil, for example, in Europe as well, doing 3D printing as well. I see. But I think until it's not a must, I don't think people are gonna do and pay more. At the end of the day, money talks.
Yeah, no, I was thinking more, could the construction companies get their costs down? That's the main thing.
When that happens, people are going to use a lot.
Yeah.
I think what's happening right now is still more expensive in most of the cases.
Yeah. That's what I
it's
found
like
as well.
it's like a ESG, for example, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's fantastic and it's great and so on.
Yeah.
But because they only do the ESG thing, in my opinion, because they are forced to do it.
Yeah.
Now, and I think it's very important to do that. I think that somebody had to create a rule that the funds need to be ESG friendly, blah, 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 blah. But if you go, for example, let's say in some markets like Brazil, the guys who build houses to sell houses, let's go to small business. When they add solar panel, recycling for the water from the rain, blah, 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 the consumer is not prepared to pay more. In Brazil, at least. They don't pay more.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And we actually have a project where we are currently building the first Green Building Council certified house in the whole of our state. And we kind of did it thinking, this is what everybody wants, this is what everyone's going to pay more for.
No, they find lovely, great, fantastic.
Yeah, they love it all.
Can you pay for that?
Yeah, that's the thing.
So pay for it? No,
like people don't really want to, especially to go for the full certification, because just the certification process introduces so much auditing and forms and paperwork you got to fill out and things you need to follow.
It's expensive.
And it ends up being more expensive. Unless you can sell it as, look, these solar panels are going to save you money. This water recapture is going to save your water bill. Unless you frame it in an economic saving thing, then it's more like a nice to have than a must have, and then like people just don't pay for it.
At the end of the day, money talks.
Yeah.
If if they can do that and save money, or use the technology to build faster and do that, that will work. Otherwise, I think we're still gonna see the old way of building things and so on. I think Abu Dhabi and Dubai, for example, they don't have shortage of labor, right?
No.
So
they're importing most of their labor from India, Bangladesh,
Exactly.
Pakistan,
So I don't
Sri Lanka.
If they're doing that, it's because of the government is telling them to do, right?
Yeah.
There's a proper
Some
instruction,
mandate,
a clear mandate. You have to do this way.
Yeah.
But I believe that the way the world is going, I think we will have that because the technology is improving a lot. I think AI will help that development, the further development of the technology, and together with that, you have shortage of labor in many countries, especially the most developed countries.
Well, I just read this morning that China now has more than 2 million robots, and I think one of the CEO or one of the top guys at Ford just returned from a trip in China, and he was like basically shitting his pants because he was saying, wow, what they're doing there in terms of how many robots they're building. And people have this false image of China as, oh, it's made in China, it's cheap, it's
I have a Chinese car,
it's
cheap,
and
fantastic.
One of
I have
the BYDs.
BYD seal.
Yeah.
So cheap and fantastic car.
Yeah.
You put a Tesla together, seriously. Like in Brazil, costs 5 times more Tesla
than a BYD,
BYD.
really.
Same car.
And they're the same.
Sorry, it's not 5 times better.
Even the BYDs can be better. I mean, I've seen the features they include and stuff. Yeah, I saw one BYD that has some drone. In the roof, and you can press a button, and then the drone goes up and films the traffic ahead of you. That's insane.
The time that China do cheap stuff is behind, and I don't know when people gonna watch this, but I think we don't know half of what they have there in terms of military.
Oh my God! Yeah, in terms of drones, drones. That's what they're saying. All the next wars, if there is one. Like, let's hope not, will be just drones and robots and stuff, and they are just going to produce it in insane volume. I mean, I've got a few drones myself, and I think, well, if I can do this with this drone with like DJI, which is incredible technology, and it's just consumer retail based, I can go down to the shop and pick one up. Imagine what they must have in the military. Oh my God.
They have millions of engineers working there.
Wow.
They don't have shortage of skilled labor there.
They've probably got factories upon factories of robots and drones. Oh,
if you look at Ukraine and Russia, the conflict, how much are they managing to inflict damage in Russia is using the drones. And they build the drones themselves, not in a professional way. And they're still managing to hold Russia there. A lot of the pain they are inflicting in Russia is via drones.
That just saves lives.
Homemade drones.
If you can just send out drones, how much can they cost? I mean, my drone, you can get a drone for under £1,000. So just attach a gun or a bomb to it or something.
Now imagine a country that have been building
that has the state budget,
and
cutting edge,
and millions of engineers working day and night there.
Oh my God. Let's just hope everyone stays peaceful, please.
Yes.
Peace, guys. Please stay good. Yeah. No, that's interesting. Like even in the AI stuff, I look at, you look at some of these sort of video editing softwares, and then you look at something like CapCut that has just come out, and you see all the features they include in it for free, and it's just like, that's another Chinese company. And you're like, wow, they really do innovate in a lot of ways that the West, I don't see happening as much. They offer so many features, like, or if any feature from any other company comes up with one, they will instantly copy it, but then also improve on it and give it for free integrated into it. So I do see, like, I mean, I'm very curious to learn more about China. I've never been there. I think when you live in the West, you get a very warped view from the media about what's going on there, and I don't trust that because, should you trust what the media is trying to tell you all the time? Probably not, because same about China my country where I'm from, like Iran. Yes, the government does a lot of bad things, but the way Iran is portrayed in the media and the way the people are, and from what I hear from people that visit there, it's just totally different world, you know. So, and even, you know, when I was in like Brazil, when I saw stuff happening
Yes.
there, and I saw the Western media view of it, and then I was in Brazil, and I was like, well, it's totally different
Yes.
on the
yes.
on the ground. So I assume it's the same with China. And
I have friends going
Yeah.
to China on a very often basis, and they say that this look. They told me, look, you like to go to different places on holiday.
yeah,
You know, if you're not open a business, you need to go there and spend some time in China, because
Yeah.
that will blow your mind.
yeah,
The things these guys are doing there is amazing. And since then I started following some web pages and some stuff on Instagram and reading on LinkedIn,
right.
and it's amazing what's going on there. I
Right.
think it's
Okay.
one
Well,
cannot
let's plan a
ignore.
trip.
Yeah.
I'm down. Next time
Let's
you go,
do it.
let's go.
Oh, by the way, we are gonna do that. By the way, at
Oh,
the
yeah?
GI members, you're
Yeah?
invited.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna go in April to Alibaba, largest distribution center. We have secured a visit there,
Yeah.
and we're gonna set up other visits as well. So
Where's
April,
that?
April next year.
Oh, which city?
I forgot the name now.
All right.
Xinjiang.
Oh, okay.
I forgot, but
Okay, right.
I'm definitely gonna.
Oh no, I'm down.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's-
I've always wanted to
I'm
go
going as
there.
well.
I think to be able to connect to China is, you know, could be very useful for.
No,
any
yeah,
businesses,
absolutely.
you know,
Look,
any
we
business,
we
you
don't
know.
have an office there. We don't have members from China,
Yeah.
but. What we realize is that we need to actually take our members to China as well to see what's going on there in a
Yeah.
professional way, a distribution center or
And that's how
data center.
you know. That's
what
how
we can see there.
that's how countries should be
Yeah,
with one another. Let's all do trade with each other. Let's like, you know, get to know each other in a friendly way. How can we have mutually beneficial relationships, not
Mhm.
this kind of adversarial, like you know, China's doing this. They're like, why can't we work with each other?
Yes.
You know, and going there and just doing something like that is to a step towards kind of demystifying a little bit and stop seeing them as some
As
other
vi-
that's over there.
violence,
It's like,
yeah.
you know, get to know them. I'm totally for that. Yeah. So what else? What else is on the agenda for you?
Well, I have been trying to concentrate and do as less as possible outside of this agenda.
Right.
So one of the temptations is to do other stuff,
Do
right?
too much stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm trying is to stay in real estate as much as possible. My focus,
Yeah.
business-wise.
So you launched 8 Capital. Do you, or that's like
Yeah.
a side business which you're doing
No,
with
it's-
some of the founders of GRI.
The truth is, by being part of the GI
Yeah.
and have access to so many
Incredible
people,
contacts, yeah.
it's just there's some business opportunities there as well,
Sure.
right? So what we did, we create a holding company where
Mhm.
we make some investments in some of the companies. Some of them are members of the GI, some of them are not members, and we create other companies. For example, we created a company that's is a headhunting, is a recruitment
Oh, that
firm
makes sense. Totally,
for
yeah.
real estate leaders. So it's,
Right.
we're the largest one in Brazil, for example.
Ah.
So that company is an investment of ours and connect people. Sometimes people want to move from one job to another. We have the whole database here. We help people to hire. Because quite often people go to our events as well to find a CEO for their business or
Yeah.
something. So we have a proper business that does that.
Nice.
I have
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
myself and other partners. We create a multifamily business in Brazil as well.
Mm-hmm.
Small one, but
Sure.
you know, we put some of the capital there as well.
Sure. Well, I guess you
Uh,
must see so many opportunities
Yeah.
around the world, like so much deal flow just happening all the time. It makes sense to get involved.
So we have some of these investments,
Sure.
but I would say the bread and butter is definitely the GR for us. Is our core focus,
Sure.
and that's where I want you.
To give all your
Yeah,
attention. Yeah.
absolutely.
Great. Okay. Well, I think that's a good point to end on. Thank you for coming, Gustavo. This has
Pleasure.
been really interesting, and I look forward to Abu Dhabi.
Yes,
Right,
Darius,
okay.
thanks for having me here, and I always enjoy talking to you, and it was a great conversation. Yeah, see you in Abu Dhabi.
See you soon. Thank
Thank
you.
you.